Oh, good one. What a hit. Rolling in the line, rolling in the line. Look at how beautiful. Barb, look at all the spots. So this is the average size. That's about a 10-inch brown trout. Pretty little trout right here from the Trout River in northern India. And there he goes.
Let's go fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing is brought to you by Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Yamaha Outboards, reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Fisher Girl, catch the passion.
We got a great morning here on the Trout River. We're in Himachal Pradesh in northern India, and you can see that beautiful scenery that we're here. We're in about 7,000 feet above sea level, so it's amazing. The sun has come out. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and Barb's got the first fish on. What we're doing is fishing ultralights this morning, and I think Barb got hers on a little Rapala. We're fishing for native brown trout that were stocked here a long time ago. We might catch a rainbow, but it's mostly browns that we're going after. This is a beautiful fish, Barb. I'm just gonna let it thrash a little bit. I don't want it to get off. Look at the energy that they've got. There's so many runs and pools in this river system that you can fish. Look at how gorgeous that fish looks in this sunlight. It's so soft this morning, and you can see that little Rapala. That's a countdown 1. And it's made by Rapala. That stands for countdown, and it's a brown trout color. It is excellent for small trout if you're fishing streams just like this, like the Trout River. So that's a beautiful fish, Barbara. I'm going to just put it back in the water, and I'm going to get my hemostats out that are hanging right here. Look at how beautiful. Barb, look at all the spots.
Yeah, they're beautiful spots.
He wasn't hooked deep, but he was hooked well. So I'm going to try to take one hook out at a time, keeping him in the water. One. Hey, that was perfect, Barb. Look, one more hook.
Yes.
Tell you what, these hemostats come in handy. 2. Look it. Gorgeous. Just going to hold him up a little bit. And here he goes. We just arrived in Jaipur, India, and I heard that this is a very special city. We're going to be meeting a guide, Shaleb, who's going to tell us all about it. So he's just over here. Shaleb?
Hi.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Jaipur already. There's so much activity. Is this the main square?
This is one of the main squares. We have 3 major squares in this city.
Good.
And this is the main street. On the left to right, it's 2 miles and 40 yards, intercepted by 3 squares at equal distance.
Now, is it all markets and small shops like this?
Yes, it's all markets and small. It's like the first mall of its kind in the world.
Wow. Walking mall.
People from the city and nearby villages, they come and shop here. You can see that's a salt shop. This is a raw salt, a black salt.
Bags and bags of it.
Bags and bags of the Himalayan salt, you know. Colorful textiles, the brooms, you know. These are the fragrances made of these, you know, local flowers, and they are mostly grown in the villages nearby. And there's a village called Pushkar, about 135 kilometers from Jaipur, which is the largest producer of these oriental roses in India.
Now, they probably don't last very long, so people have to buy them if they want them every day.
Yes, they have to buy them every day. He is Jagdish, and he buys the old textiles, you know, because old textile in those days was given as a dowry because it had more gold and silver in it. So in the time of need, the girl can burn the textile and use the gold out of it for money, you know, in need.
So is that what's there in that little pile?
That's what they buy, and then they burn it and get the gold and silver out of it.
Wow, amazing. All right. You know, the scenery is nothing short of spectacular here. So beautiful. You know what's amazing? There's all these hill tribes or mountain tribes as you're going through the valleys. This fish is going down here. I got another little brown trout. I'm going to try to bring him up into the current. You know, when you look up into these mountains, see all the homes that are there? The people all walk up and down the paths. So there's no roads up there, and they all have little gardens that they plant, and they grow everything from apples, because there's quite a few apple orchards here, to a lot of produce. I just want to have you get a close look at this gorgeous brown. Remember, these are native here. They don't grow very large unless they start predating on one another, because here the water is so cold in the Turtan River, because all the water comes from the runoff from the mountains around us. So this is the average size. That's about a 10-inch brown trout. And you can see it hit that spinner. That's a little Vibrex and just nailed it. It's got a little bit of silver, black body with flake, and then a little bit of chartreuse on the blade. I'm going to try to keep it in the water. I don't want to get it too muddy. So primarily they feed on insects. And unless they learn to feed on the smaller browns, they really don't grow very fast. But they're so beautiful and plentiful here in the Turtan. It's going to go there. Now you can see how clear the water is.
X-Mark, you find fish catch of the day.
Hey, it's Dan Smell calling in. Just want to tell you a story about catching my walleye there. It's about 11-pound walleye. We caught it up in Muskoka. It was a gorgeous day, and I was with my son. It was incredible. We caught 3 that day. One was 12 pounds. One was, I think, 9, and the last one was 6. So it was good, and had to make some time fishing. So it's incredible. And the app was just perfect, because when I was out, I actually had my iPad with me. I was messing around with actually the app at the time, so I was able to catch the fish and upload them to the app, which is amazing, and you can see the photos on the app if you go there.
Now, did you ever think India was this beautiful? Probably when you think of India, you think of movies like Bollywood or Slumdog Millionaire. India is amazing. And especially that you can catch these beautiful trout. Let me get this little brown up. I can't get over how gorgeous they look. Look, this guy has the lure just in the side of his mouth. Look at that pretty little brown. Gorgeous colors. It seems to be so natural to see a colorful fish like this in this beautiful environment. One hook out. I'm trying to be gentle with them. Come on, get your mouth open. There. There. And one last look, and I'm just going to drop him into the water. There he goes. We were just on our way back from the Amber Palace, and this beautiful palace in the middle of the lake caught my eye. So we pulled over, and we see a woman that's actually feeding tilapia about this big. I thought that was food that they were selling, so that's not for people.
That's not for people, that's for the fish.
Oh, okay. Now this is a beautiful, how did the palace end up being in the middle of the lake?
Well, this is an artificial lake. It's a man-made lake, and this was used as a summer resort for the kings earlier. So the palace was built earlier, and then the lake was made. And, you know, the kings would come during summers from their palace over here for a lot of their private parties in those days being held over here. So this was a summer resort. But since long time, this has been completely abandoned, totally deserted. So now the government is planning to give this, you know, to a private group, and it could be, that's why they are restoring it as well. You know? So it could be used and maintained in future.
I've never seen a palace in the water like that. It's beautiful. Oh, good one. What a hit. They're so energetic, and you know, they jump 2-3 times out of the water. I mean, doesn't matter whether you like to fly fish or you like to use ultralights. I'm doing the traditional, just fishing with 4-pound test, using a little ultralight rod and getting these gorgeous little browns. I'm actually using the castable 100% fluorocarbon. This guy's small, but he whacked it just like a big fish. You know, I know a lot of people love to fish small streams and use ultralight gear and small lures. Just going to drop that guy back in the water. He just fell off. Now, the outfit that I'm using has actually been designed by Rapala for trout fishing. And you can see that it's called Classic Trout Series. They have just the right action if you like to trout fish. So if you turn it over, you can see the specs that are right there. This particular one is 6.5 feet long. It's 2-piece, and it's rated for line from 2 to 6 pound test. So I'm using the 4-pound test, castable 100% fluorocarbon, and it works really well. Now the lures that we've been using have been pretty small. There's that little Vibrex. It's got a whole bunch of colors: silver, black bell with flake on it, and then a little bit of chartreuse. This seems to be working well, the small Countdown Rapala, and even the small Lucky Strike spoons in the gold and silver color. The key is trying to find a place where the trout are holding, because they're not everywhere. They're just in the runs, in the pools, and in the slower water. Because you can see below me how fast the land drops. It drops right down. So it's pretty fast flowing.
Fisher girl! Catch the passion!
One of my favorite lures to use is a spinner. I like it for a couple reasons. It's very easy to use. Cast it out and reel it in. If you want to fish deeper, you let it drop and reel it in slowly. If you want to fish more shallow, as soon as it hits the water, you reel it in. Another thing I like about it is it has the UV bright coating. It keeps the color of the lure while the lure is traveling underwater.
Spinners are excellent, and this particular one, the Vibrex, is kind of neat because beside giving out a lot of flash and vibration from the blade going around, it also has this unique bell body. The bell is hollow and there's a little gear inside. So when it's going through the water, the bell actually moves back and forth and the gear spins inside. That's why they call it a Vibrex.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Naden Boats, Canada's finest aluminum boats.
I get a lot of questions through our website on Ask Italo, what to use for smaller trout in streams and rivers. And I tell people that if they're using artificial lures, 2 of the top presentations is either to use a small spinner, like I'm holding up here in my right hand. These are both Vibrex Blue Fox spinners. You can see that one is the original, and the other one is one of the newer ones that's brightly colored with a little bit of hackle on the tail. Those in size 1 and 2, even 0, can work really well depending on the size of the trout. And also the small Rapalas that are part of the Countdown series. These are the CD1 is right here, and this is the CD3. This is 1 centimeter, this is 3 centimeters long. Now these are weighted. Even though they're small, you can cast them pretty far, and if you're fishing in streams where there's a current, they'll actually stay down to get in front of the fish. So both lures are excellent because you can control the exact depth that they swim at, and they also produce a lot of flash and vibrations, which trout love. We had a great lunch upstream, kind of shore lunch, and then the guide thought that we should come down to where the river's a little bit wider. So we've driven maybe, I'm guessing, 10-15 kilometers, and you can see that the Turtan is quite wider and it's not as clear. So there are tributaries that bring in more silt and nutrients in. And upstream, we saw a lot of nice sized fish, anywhere from about 14 to 18 inches. But they were very spooky in the pool. As soon as you step up to a pool, you'd see them take off really fast. So here, because the conditions are a little murkier, the water, I got a feeling we're gonna do better using the ultralights and spinning outfits. So since we've come down, we've only been fishing about maybe 15 minutes, and we've gotten about 7 fish, which is pretty good. This is number 7 right here. And it's interesting because you can see the colors are a little bit more faded here. So they're not as bright as they were up top. So that's kind of interesting. Still hit really well. You've got to be careful with this little Vibrex because it really inhaled it. And I'm going to toss it back in the water. Pretty little trout right here from the Trout River in northern India. And there he goes. You know, we've walked kilometers over the last couple of days, and today especially, fishing this lower stretch of the Trout River. Literally every pool that we've cast to, we've hooked fish. But we haven't found any of the big fish. They do get fish here up to 7 pounds, and fish in 1 to 2 pound range are actually quite common. But one of the problems is there's so many of these smaller browns in the 8 to 10 inch length. See if I can just bring this guy up. I've got 4 pound test on, but this shouldn't be a problem. He's not hooked really well. That fish is about 7 inches, but you know what? It has the potential of getting much bigger. And there's a release. What I'm trying to do is cast tight to the wall, just like Barb, so that I'm fishing that still water, and then the break on both sides of this fast current. You know, bigger, just had a hit and missed it. Bigger fish should be just on the edges, because that's where the feeding lanes are. But I think one of the problems is they've got so much food in here, a lot of insect life, and also the bigger browns probably feed on the smaller browns and the small barbels. Just amazing. We walked about maybe half a kilometer of stream. And these beautiful little browns are everywhere. Come on. The water's so clear here, I can see right to the bottom. I can see all the thrashing and rolling this brown is doing in my line. You can probably see it on the rod tip. Gonna bring him right around. Nice fish. He's about 10 inches. There seems to be tons of 10 inchers in here. We've seen some bigger fish, but they're down in the pools. So they're really hard to get to come up because we're using small lures like this. You can see that little CD3 in its mouth, little Rapala. Isn't that beautiful? The nice scenery. You know, we're here right at the base of the Himalayas at about 7,000 feet above sea level. And you've got these beautiful trout that probably don't have a lot of food to feed on, mostly insects. And then of course when they learn that if they feed on each other, especially the smaller browns, they can put on the weight. I've seen fish up to about 20 inches in some of the pools, but they're further down, and I've got a feeling that they do a lot of their feeding at night. This is beautiful. Sanjay. Now, is this a square where everybody gathers together? Because there's so much activity here.
The Shimla Ridge, the most happening place. This was right on top. The British used to come here. They have the headquarters, the building right there, you see?
Yes.
That's the Secretariat.
Okay.
Presently, the main building. So still the government offices. The church is right behind you. And on top you see the Jaku Hill
It looks like it's got a little bit of a repair job there.
Oh, they're making a new statue.
Now,
So
what's
everybody
with the horses? Look, I was told that the white horse is a marriage horse, but here kids and look, it's a father and son riding it.
You know, till such time that we made a railroad.
Yes.
Everybody who was coming up to Shimla was coming on horse carts or bullock carts.
Okay, so horses
So
were used.
traditionally, these horses were belonging to this place only to fetch people from plains up to the Himalayas. Now they are more touristic. On the ridge, this is one of the most interesting points. It's called the Scandal Point.
It's beautiful.
Why it's called a Scandal Point is because of that forest you see just across. That mountain, there's a palace there called the Chal Palace. That palace was of the Maharaja of Patiala. Now he abducted the wife of the viceroy, and it took the wife there for almost a week. And it's said that when she came back, she divorced. And Chad is supposed to be a most interesting place. So all the young couples who come here, they definitely get a picture here.
You know, the last two pools that we've been fishing here on the lower Turtan are pools that if you were fly fishing or even spin fishing, you could literally spend all day fishing. Half a day at the one pool up above. Look at the size of this pool. It's huge. It's probably about 70 yards long. And almost every cast I've had a fish on, it's just a matter of trying to work for a bigger fish, but it's so beautiful. See if I can get this one in the cradle, half extended. Come on. I don't think he's hooked that well, but hopefully he'll stay on. Nice little brown. Come on, come on, come on. He's still thrashing around. He's small, but he's got lots of energy. Remember, we're using 4-pound test. Okay, so we get him in, nice and calm. I'm going to put the rod down. You're going to get a nice look at the fish. Look at that pretty brown. So he's about 11 inches. Beautiful light markings. And that mesh is very soft, so it's not hurting him at all. Got him in the water. I'm going to try to just get the hook with the hemostat. You know, the nice thing about the hemostats is that they clamp down. So right now they're locked. Okay, now just a shake. The hook should fall out. It's just on a very small fiber right there. Okay, so he wasn't hooked deep. And I'll give you one more look because these are such beautiful fish. And then he's going to slide out of the cradle. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful brown? Beautiful fish. Right here in Himachal Pradesh, north part of India.
Canadian sport fishing is brought to you by Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. Yamaha Outboards, reliability starts here. Sail, the outdoors superstore. Fisher Girl, catch the passion.
The roar is so loud from the rapids going through the rocks here. Come on, beautiful little brown. He's all lassoed up into the spinner. You can see the lines all around his head. Come on. Trying to get it unraveled. They roll just like a rainbow trout, even though they're not huge. That beautiful brown. They're all so pretty. Get the one hook out. Back in the water. There he goes.